Hospitals are places of healing where lives are saved and hope is restored. They are sanctuaries of care, bustling with doctors, nurses, and medical staff working tirelessly to ensure the well-being of their patients. The sterile smell of antiseptic, the beeping of monitors, and the soft murmur of conversations create an environment that is both reassuring and clinical. But sometimes, these places of healing can also become places of horror. The long, dimly lit corridors can feel ominous, and the quiet, especially during the night shifts, can be unsettling. Shadows seem to move on their own, and the silence is often broken by inexplicable sounds. Dr. Davis was on the night shift at St. Mary's Hospital, a place he had worked for many years. He was familiar with every nook and cranny of the building, and the night shifts had become a routine for him. The hospital was his second home, and he took pride in his work. At St. Mary's, patients were tagged with colored bands to indicate their status. Green meant alive and well, while red signified that the patient had passed away. This system was designed to prevent any confusion, especially during emergencies. One quiet night, as the hospital settled into an eerie calm, Dr. Davis was sent to get supplies from the basement. The basement was a place he rarely visited, and it always gave him an uneasy feeling. The dim lighting and the echo of his footsteps added to the sense of foreboding. As he approached the lift, the doors opened to reveal a patient inside, minding her own business. She seemed lost in thought, staring blankly ahead. Dr. Davis found it odd, but didn't think much of it. Patients often wandered around to stretch their legs, especially those who had been bedridden for a long time. However, they were supposed to be back in their rooms by 10. It was a strict rule to ensure their safety and well-being. Dr. Davis glanced at his watch. It was well past 10. He wondered why she was still out and about. Dr. Davis smiled politely and pressed the button for the basement. The woman remained silent, not acknowledging his presence. He found it strange that she hadn't pressed any button herself. Was she also heading to the basement? Or was she just lost? Curiously, the woman hadn't pressed any button herself. She stood there, motionless, as if waiting for something. Dr. Davis felt a chill run down his spine. There was something unsettling about her demeanor. Was she also heading to the basement, or was she just lost in her thoughts? The silence in the elevator was deafening, and Dr. Davis couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. The lift descended, and as the doors opened, Dr. Davis was greeted by the familiar sight of the basement. The dimly lit hallway stretched out before him, and the air was thick with the smell of disinfectant. He stepped out, ready to gather the supplies he needed. Suddenly, a man limped towards them. His movements were slow and labored, and there was something off about him. Dr. Davis's instincts kicked in, and he felt a surge of panic. Panicking, Dr. Davis slammed the close button. The doors shut just in time, and the lift began its ascent. His heart pounded in his chest, and he struggled to catch his breath. What had he just seen? His heart pounded in his chest. The image of the limping man was etched in his mind. There was something eerily familiar about him, but Dr. Davis couldn't quite place it. "Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift," the woman said, annoyed. Her voice broke the silence, and Dr. Davis turned to face her. She looked at him with a mixture of confusion and irritation. "Did you see his wrist?" Dr. Davis asked, his voice trembling. He needed to know if she had noticed what he had seen. The red band on the man's wrist was a clear indication of his status. It was red. "He died last night. I would know because I did his surgery." The words hung in the air, and the woman's expression changed. She seemed to be processing what he had just said. The woman lifted her wrist, revealing a red band. Dr. Davis's blood ran cold. How could this be? He had seen her alive and well just moments ago. She smiled. Like this one, her smile was eerie, and Dr. Davis felt a wave of dread wash over him. The elevator continued its ascent, but he felt as if he was descending into a nightmare. The hospital, a place of healing, had become a place of horror.